That's why.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to get started here. We've got the technical difficulties settled.
My school's telling me I'm not.
Good morning, everyone.
Good stuff now.
Welcome to our YJOC meeting today. For those of you who haven't heard, today is National Pizza and Beer Day. So I am always in search of the best pizza. So as we introduce ourselves today, I'd like you to tell me what is the best pizza in Indiana so I can go try it. So introduce yourself by name, role, and best pizza in Indiana. Why don't we start over here with Liz?
Good morning. My name is Liz Hodak. I'm from the Public Defender Council. I've been really into Detroit style pizza that I was recently introduced to. So I like Jets.
I'm Nicole Phillips with Bartholomew County Probation. My opinion of best pizza is 450 North Brewing Company in Columbus. Really great pizza, and the crust is the only crust I like. Because it's like eating a breadstick. It's like burnt almost. It's really good. Thanks.
Great. Morning, everyone. Matt Alsma, Indiana University, and I like Detroit style as well. And Futuro, I really like. Yeah.
I'm Catherine Pulley, Executive Director of Indiana Office of Court Services, and I don't boast that this is the best pizza in Indiana, but it's the one we eat the most. Marco's is close to our house, and they have a crust that's sort of kind of gluten-free, so that's kind of gluten. Anything will say that it is.
Carolyn Foley, Allen Superior Court. I spent many years down in Bloomington, so I have very fond memories of beer and pizza at Mother Bear's.
I'm Shannon Chambers. I'm with Johnson County, and I would second Mother Bear's. So,
An institution for a reason.
yes.
Stephen Balco with the Department of Education. I don't know if it's the best, but we eat a lot of Mozzi's pizza in our house. So
Tracy Fitz, Prosecuting Attorneys Council. I grew up in Northwest Indiana, and the best pizza in Indiana by far is Pizza King. It's the king.
Faith Graham, juvenile judge in Tippecanoe County, and hands down, it's Bruno's Pizza.
Ryan King, Ripper Circuit Court. I have to stay local here. The local bowling alley named a pizza after me because I always order a pizza with everything on it. So now go to Pollard's Bowl and get the king. That's the pizza.
Pollard's the king. All right.
The king.
Doug Hunsinger from the Indiana Criminal Justice Institute, King Doe over on Michigan.
King Doe?
King Doe.
King Doe, okay.
Great purpose.
Good morning, Sarah Sailors, Division of Mental Health and Addiction. Actually, I'm gonna say the Sailors household. My husband makes homemade pizza dough every Wednesday night, and we make our own little pizzas. So that's, it's amazing. If we have to go with a chain, I would go with Monocle's.
Okay.
Bazbo's, but it has to be the Bazbo's downtown. That's the best one.
Right. We have folks on Zoom today. So I see Nancy. Would you like to go next, Nancy?
Good morning. My name is Nancy Weaver. I'm the Director of Youth Justice Initiatives at the Indiana Office of Court Services. And I missed the check-in question, but it's something to do with pizza. Is that right?
The best pizza in Indiana.
Best pizza. I'm going to go with Lou Malnati's.
All right. And we have Kia on Zoom today.
Hi, everybody. I am Kia Wright with Voices Corporation, and I'm going to say Godfather's Pizza. There's one on Mass Ave and there's one in Broad Ripple.
All right. And do we have other members on Zoom today? No? Okay. And I'm Dana Kenworthy, Court of Appeals, and I will say lately it's been Sal's in Brownsburg, little mom and pop shop. So if you're ever on the west side, I like Sal's. All right, let's go ahead and get going today with our agenda. First item up for consideration are the minutes from August 14th. Any edits needed?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Thank you. Got a motion. Do we have a second? Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Minutes are approved. Next item for consideration is the electronic communication attendance policy. So we've had discussion about this, changing the membership of our work groups to allow our work groups to meet electronically if they so choose and they meet the requirements. So requirement is not more than one person who serves on the full YJOC can serve on that work group. If you meet that requirement, then electronic meetings are an option. We've made some edits to paragraph 7 of the existing electronic policy, so you have that draft in your minutes. So if you have any suggested edits, we will consider those here. Other thoughts on this policy? Hearing none, do we have a motion to approve the YJOC electronic communication attendance policy edits?
I'll move.
Okay.
Second.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, policy is approved. Now, each individual work group can take this as a template back to your group and decide if you want to choose to meet electronically all of the time, some of the time, and adopt this policy. As long as it meets these standards, then you're fine. Any questions on that process? All right. Next up, we will have Blaine standing in for Mark, who I hope is having an awesome time out of the office. So Blaine.
Thanks, everybody. I'll be short. The Children's Commission has commenced its strategic planning process for creating goals and objectives for 2026 through 2028. This process will not change the path of the YJOC and its work towards developing its next phase, but will work to ensure there's non-duplication. Updates will be made on this before the plan is finalized at our December meeting. So there'll be time between now and then for feedback with all of our work groups, all the crossover work groups with the YJOC and such, to make sure that we don't duplicate, but also work together. The next CISC meeting will be next Wednesday, the 15th, here at Government Center South. We will go more in detail to what strategic planning has looked like to this date. We'll receive an update on older youth services through DCS, and then we'll finalize a recommendation on minimum family visitation and phone contact for youth in secure detention. That afternoon at 1 o'clock in the House chamber at the State House, the Child Welfare Task Force that was created through House Enrolled Act 1273 will have its first meeting. This is expected to have a focus on provider issues and time to permanency concerns, and is jointly supported by the General Assembly, IARCA, and the Children's Commission. Membership is defined in legislation, but the public attendance is open and encouraged. Once again, the Children's Commission has been asked to create a fund for family recovery courts. This legislation proposal would not contain a request for additional state funding, but will simply offer a repository for excess funds, donations, settlement dollars, etc. Last but not least, we have welcomed our newest team member, Adriana, who is sitting over here. Adriana will serve as our engagement coordinator and will spearhead our youth, family, and caregiver engagement efforts, including those that will overlap with the YJOC, as we look to integrate lived experience in all of our processes and work groups and products. Her first task, and something we're proud to announce, and Judge Kenworthy has had the opportunity to meet them. We have onboarded our newest cohort of youth representatives, Jada and Emma, who will serve their 2-year terms. They represent our third cohort of lived experience experts and are already very engaged in their roles. So we're happy to have them there, and they will be a resource to us and potentially the YJOC as well. So that's the update from the Children's Commission. I'll take any questions back to Mark or our team if needed. So please let me know.
Questions for Blaine?
Thanks.
We'll move on to our work group reports. First up is the grants work group. Nancy, will that be you today?
Nope, I
no,
think
that'd
Doug
be-
is, oh, sorry. Yep,
All
Doug's
right.
taking that.
Perfect.
That will be me. Thank you. So the Nancy had put together a report of our work group. And as you can see, we have about $43 million still left to be granted out. As I mentioned at our last meeting, we have paused putting out any additional RFPs until we can reevaluate our funding formula, change our application, and also adjust our contracting process. So all of those are in progress currently. At our last meeting of the work group, we met to discuss the funding formula. And on the second page of our report, you'll see where those changes come down to for small communities, those are less than 25,000 individuals. Their previous maximum grant award was $90,000, and we've increased that to 150. This funding in the code is to have a focus on rural communities. We felt increasing those dollars for those communities was important. For mid-tier communities, they will stay the same in the proposed funding formula at $85,000. And large communities will also stay the same. We also looked at the planning grants that we had offered, and only 2 of the 17 planning grants that we have issued have converted into an actual grant. So we're looking at how we can attach planning to larger awards. And there is what did we did away with?
Was that right? Should not say.
Yes. And so as we move forward, our goal will be having one single application rather than having communities fill out multiple applications for what we're doing. So with that, we will continue our work. Our next step is to have the committee review a draft of the application. But currently, I would make a motion to this group to approve the proposed funding formula for specifically for this next round of grants. If we determine that we have some challenges with the current funding formula, it would be our desire to come back before we issue a second round and make further adjustments. But moving forward, this will be it with the caveat that we may take some lessons learned and return to this group and ask for some other changes.
And to clarify, this formula would only affect the diversion and community-based alternatives grants. The behavioral health remains the same.
Correct. There is no cap on behavioral health grants.
Thank you.
And additionally, we also looked into the current grants, expiration dates, those activities. And we just have, I believe, 3 open grants that will expire and would have to reapply. Everybody else's grants have either already been amended or we plan to extend their grants because there's remaining funding within their original grant.
Any questions or discussion about the recommendation to change the formula? Catherine?
Not about that, but how much is left in the fund? Is it 43?
43 million. Yeah.
Thank you.
We have a motion on the table. Do we have a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the changes to the formulas for diversion and community-based alternatives grants, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right. And you've also noted in your report a question about the report that is due January 1st. Do you want to say something about that, Doug?
I will defer to Nancy on the report.
Okay.
Thank you, Doug. Yes, there was a statutory change made with 1403 that requires the YJOC to submit a report by January 1 about the grants. We've also noted that CJI has a report required about the grants. And our work group, the grants work group, is wondering what information this group wants from us, since it's going to be coming from the YJOC. Do you want us to draft the report, to just be involved in it? Just thinking ahead to make sure that we meet that deadline, but also not to step on toes if there's a plan from the YJOC to take care of this report on your own and just want some input from the group.
Sure. So to answer that question, Nancy, I reached out to Leslie and talked through this issue. So this is a new report under the amendment to the statute. So IOCS provides staff support on other reports. There is a format that is meets all other ADA requirements and so forth. So they will provide staff support for this report as well. The statute, looking at Indiana Code 2536-9.3D, provides essentially four items of information for that report. So if the grants work group can provide that information to this group at the December meeting, IOCS can then have time between our December meeting and the January 1st deadline to put it in the right format, clean up formatting issues, grammatical errors, that sort of thing. So Doug or Nancy, do you think that is workable?
Absolutely. I do, Doug. If you're okay with that, we can provide those 4 points, and absolutely.
Yes.
All right. Leslie, did I miss anything on that? Thank you. Any questions for Doug regarding grants? And I will give him a shout out because he drove all the way to Fort Wayne to present during one of the judicial conference sessions. So it's the annual required meeting of all judicial officers in Indiana. So he was there to let everyone know how CJI is streamlining the process and making this an easier lift for programs across the state. So it's my hope that those judges present on the very last day of the conference, in the very last session, there was a great turnout, I will say, and they were very attentive. So hopefully we'll hear from some additional communities interested in this funding. And I think increasing that amount for those small communities hopefully will entice some additional. So thank you, Doug and committee, for everything that you're doing. All right, next up we have Dr. Alsma.
Yeah. Thanks so much. So co-chairing this with Chris, and of course, I want Chris to chime in as I need clarification. So we met in August and September. So one issue that came up was this juvenile probation quarterly report and the chance for some clarification around diversion definition. So our data work team spent a lot of time around that definition and clarification, and this new definition is coming through January 1, 2026. So it's, again, kind of a nice time for us really thinking about diversion, data, access. So the IU team, in partnership with our state partners, we did this deep dive into diversion, where we really didn't know we would have to dive as deep as we did, with interviews, with surveys, with looking at data. So we have a separate report simply on diversion data and state of the land, the good, not so good, that we're finalizing. And then a member of our team, Katie Schwartz, JD, met with Tracy and Megan on the diversion team just to kind of talk about that report. And yeah. So maybe you can speak more to that.
If you want me to wait. Well, we loved hearing from Katie. She had a lot of great information and it made us think a lot about it too. And I probably overwhelmed her with questions, but mainly it's clear that it's really fuzzy around what we're capturing.
Yeah.
And so if anything we can do to tighten that up is going to be great.
That's the synopsis of the report in one sentence. It's very fuzzy. And then there's 20 additional pages of interview text and data. No, I think that is the reality. It's very much county specific, it's program specific. So that report will be forthcoming, and we'll definitely make sure to share it with YJOC. And then there's a broader report from the 24 counties that's in process. We hope to wrap that process up soon. So then we're getting into phase 2, which is selecting 5 counties to get more specific on quality improvement. So using an audit tool to really understand where this data is and how it can be improved, and working with counties to improve that data quality. So we're getting into phase 2. We're going to be meeting with our state partners very soon to select those 5 counties. So of the 24, we had 11 counties that had strong interest in moving into this next phase. 3 some interest, the rest we didn't hear from, which I assume they really want to do it. No. I think you're going to stick with those 11, but really glad. I mean, it shows that people really want their data to be used and it for be accurate. So that's kind of where we are, starting to get into the phase 2, which is going to be a lot of work and a lot of back and forth with local, state, and academic partners. So thanks for the synopsis. Questions from folks?
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can we hear your diversion definition again?
So it's not in our report and it is very lengthy.
Okay.
Yeah, so this would be one that we can send out post meeting. Would that be the best? Kristen
Sure,
nods his
we can do
head.
that. Would that meet your needs, Tracy?
That would be great. Like, just I'm curious. I might have a little bit.
Yeah.
And it also might help us with PCMS
Mm.
in the prosecutor's system. Because some of what we might capture some of it first, so it could help us also dial in on having another data point. So
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure I knew exactly what we were doing.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Thank you. And again, this is for the juvenile probation quarterly report. So again, it's not definition that broad, we're using statute, but then it gets into how is it being used? So feeds right in. And I think this is a really good time where we want to make sure that we're synergizing well across all of these different data elements and definitions and reports. So yeah, thank you for that.
I'm just excited to see that our trial courts continue to step up more than. So the first round, we hoped for 10 volunteers and got 24. This next round, we need 5 and we've got 11 plus.
Yeah.
Expressing interest. So that's great. And this is not easy work. It's not work that's going to take 10 minutes of someone's time. It's going to be in depth.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that is so true. Thankful for that. And then also want to acknowledge that JRAC and data quality and JDI. So there's multiple data quality efforts ongoing and we're trying to communicate well across our teams. So I think as any of these issues come up, this definition with diversion, let's make sure to talk because there's so many efforts we don't want to duplicate in these. Yeah. Nancy. Oh, good. Nancy?
I actually took my hand down because you addressed it, Dr. Alsma. I was thinking about when Tracy asked about the definition of diversion, but you said it. This definition of diversion is still what's in the statute. This is really more about how we're capturing it. So thank you.
Yeah.
Right. Any questions regarding data? Continue to do awesome work. So thank you.
Yeah.
Next up is behavioral health. Sarah, will that be you today?
That will be me. So I feel like we've been very busy since the last time I reported out. We've met twice, but we have one started drafting a one-pager resource on telehealth. And so that is in the works currently. We're hoping to have that finalized and during our next meeting in November, and then being able to present that to this group before the end of the year. So that's, I think, been ongoing for a while. So we're getting close on that one. We also have been having a lot of discussions about how we can support the grants work group and really thinking about how we might be able to help local folks operationalize their application and then supporting that ongoing work. So because of the changes happening with the grants work group, we've kind of paused and we're waiting. But my ask, I think, to Doug is that maybe you and your co-chair, me and my co-chair, we meet here soon so that we know how we can help you now that you've got some things in place. So that's kind of where we see our place with the grants team. And then a very exciting work that actually happened during our last two meetings. We finalized two documents that you have. And so those are documents that we developed to really help, one, guide judicial officers, and then two, to help support our clinical staff to make sure that they are including the right information so that judicial officers can make well-informed decisions. So I have two documents I want to request that we approve today so that we might be able to get those on the website and available for others. The first one is the Juvenile Mental Health Assessment and Evaluation Tool. So this is the document that is really for judicial officers and then justice system professionals who want to better understand the various tools and resources related to the juvenile mental health care and treatment. And then it's going to describe the different types of assessments and evaluations that exist. And then we also, on that document, you'll see a hyperlink to the judge's guide to juvenile mental health jargon, which we think will be very helpful. One, if we're all speaking the same language, then we know what we're asking for and what we can expect from those reports. So that's the first document that we would request that is approved for posting. And then before we do that, you want me to go ahead and review the second document?
Sure.
Okay. And then you'll see the second document is the recommended juvenile diagnostic assessment and intake report. And so really the purpose of this is to provide recommendations on what is to be included in the assessment and intake report so that it's most helpful for court personnel to be able to see quickly what they need to see, to understand the recommendations and the why behind those recommendations of that clinician. And so that is the second document. We could not keep it to a one-pager. It is both a two-sided document, 2 pages, but those two documents, we are ready to see if they can't be approved today.
So let's take these one at a time. The first is the Juvenile Mental Health Assessment and Evaluation Tools. It looks like this, the grid on the front. And thinking about the use of this, we inevitably each year have new judges taking the bench in juvenile court who have never done a juvenile case before. And so jargon is a lot, particularly when you're talking about assessments and evaluations and intakes and preliminary inquiries and all of the things. That's a lot to sort out in the juvenile world. And so this is designed to be a snapshot that puts everyone on the same page about what each assessment or evaluation will or will not entail. So hopefully we will get the right kids to the right tools, the right providers, and not overburden a provider that doesn't need to be overburdened. Any discussion about this document?
I just have one question. Is this language consistent with the DCS service standards in terms of if a court were going to order something, would they be ordering one of these 3 things? Or is there need for further kind of alignment?
So I don't know all the service standards by heart, for sure, but we did have DCS present on the subcommittee, so they were working on this tool and have reviewed it. So I don't know that there's any specific discrepancies to my knowledge.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion?
This is a tiny minor point. The juvenile guide is from 2007 on the jargon links. That's too bad. That's on them to update it. And it's Tom Grisso. This is his thing. So I think it's appropriate. So So I hope that they update it at some point. But I think the assessment evaluation tool that you have right here is great, fantastic, and I think it'll be really helpful.
Thank you.
Do you know where Tom Grisso is, Dr. Alsma?
This is the position.
Sorry, we're talking about the additions here. Yeah.
Do you know where Dr. Grisso is? Where
He's in
he's,
Massachusetts.
okay.
He is still alive. He's very old.
Would that be something that the group could reach out to him and say, is there an updated version or will this be updated?
I could reach out, yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Super. If no further discussion, do we have a motion to approve this document for posting on the YJOC website?
I have one question.
Yes.
These three different types of treatment or assessments, are they in any particular order as it relates? Because it like an intake assessment, that would seem to me to be a lesser type of assessment than, let's say, a psychiatric assessment or a psychological assessment. So I wondered if it wouldn't make sense from a judicial perspective to say, well, here's the lowest level of assessment you might want to work. Consider that one first. Does that going to get you what you need? If the answer is no, then go on perhaps to the next one. If there's any sort of hierarchy, if you will, or if I'm missing that totally. You see what I'm saying?
I think
Does that
that's
make
a
sense?
really valid point.
Good.
Yeah. So we could make that adjustment and flip flop those.
So
that order,
list intake
putting
first.
intake and assessment first.
Would that clarify your concern, Judge King?
I think it would.
Yeah.
I would definitely, I mean, in my mind, I would think an intake assessment would go first, perhaps psychological and then psychiatric. That's the way I think about it. That's
Special. That's really looking at medication, right?
Yeah. The psychiatric,
Yeah.
I mean, because when you start dealing with medication, I mean, you're actually dealing with the mind and altering the state, for medication, obviously. Psychological, is more of, what's that, I think the diagnostic assessment and intake. No, the next one. Yeah, no, that's it. Where it's got all the information that you would typically see in a psychological report. I mean, that's what that looks like. Psychiatric reports, I've received a lot of psychiatric reports and they are whatever they want to do. I mean, so I've seen them look like this, like 3 sentences or one paragraph. I don't know. That's just my thoughts.
So would you put psychiatric last then?
I probably would.
Yeah. Okay.
But I could see how reasonable minds could differ. But
May I consider your suggestions as a friendly amendment to the motion? Does that work for you, Dr. Alsma? Yeah. All right, so we have an amended motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, any further discussion?
I'm
All in
sorry.
favor?
Can
Yes.
I have one more question. It was triggered by Judge King. Is it necessary, or is there another place to go where something could be added about like the frequency or when? I'm thinking about a young person who maybe had undergone a psychological evaluation in the last year. And is it necessary then to have another one? Or is this information somewhere else that a judicial officer or somebody could be using when they're thinking about ordering one of these?
So I think that's what we were trying to convey when you see down at the bottom of the page with the asterisks.
Oh, I'm
If there's
sorry.
already been an evaluation in the last 18 months. Have those recommendations actually been followed, one, before you order an
Yes.
evaluation? Right, like, it's unlikely that you will get a different outcome, right? If you're doing it so close together and back to back and you haven't made those efforts, so.
Thank you. I'm very sorry. I did not scroll down to see that.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Any other questions or discussion? We have a motion and second to approve as amended. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. All right, first document is approved. Second is the recommended juvenile diagnostic assessment and intake report contents, which looks like this one, first page, and then bullet points on the back. Any discussion on that document? And on this document, I recall probably 5 to 8 years ago, I know Judge Graham participated, but there were a group of focus groups with judicial officers across the state talking to a DCS provider, statewide provider, about contents of reports. And a lot of the concerns and frustrations of the judges were that these can be all over the board and they can be very dense and really hard to identify what needs to happen for this child. And so to think that we're going to be able to dig through 100+ pages of material and figure out which clinical recommendations fit best without some pointing to those recommendations and immediate needs of that child is very difficult. Not just for judicial officers, but for the providers, the probation officers, the DCS caseworkers who are going to be using these documents to help care for the youth. And so I know that the behavioral health work group had great multidisciplinary discussion on this. And the providers don't want to do things that's not helpful. So I think they also have a desire to provide what will be most useful and in the format that will be the most useful. Do you want to add to that, Sarah?
Yeah, I would agree. I think, very expensive EMR systems, right, make it challenging to have one standard report that everybody can use because everybody's system, right? Technology looks a little bit different for everybody, but we did get a lot of input from providers in the field who are doing this work, and just hearing the judicial officers need to see that information quickly. What can we bring to the top? What's really important for them to be able to make informed decisions? So I feel like we did, a pretty decent job of trying to get to that sweet spot of that could meet everybody's needs.
Any further discussion? Yes, Catherine.
Comment or question. Is there any way we could put a date on the two, either in a header or a footer, just so if somebody gets a hold of them, they know that they're current, and then if any changes have to be made, we can.
Yeah, I think that's an easy amendment.
Any other discussion? Do we have a motion to approve a dated version of the second document?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion or questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Document approved as well. Anything else from Behavioral Health Work Group today?
Just that we have one more regular scheduled session before the end of the year, and we've already scheduled all of our meeting times and dates for next year.
I would just note one other thing. In the last work that the Behavioral Health Work Group did, the other disciplines within the group asked, can we take this back to our agencies, DCS, providers, so that we're all speaking the same language? So I see some potential for these as well to be used, not just by judicial system folks, but everyone serving the youth, and take a step forward in getting us all on the same page. All right, next up, we have Tracy and Megan.
Yeah, so we finally just met September 24th and heard from Dr. Alsman's colleague, Katie Schwartz, and it was a great discussion around what they learned about diversion data. And it really sparked some discussions again for us about pre-referral, diversion, IA. Are we capturing it at the moment? Not so well. But it gave us some ideas, and really maybe some things like what people say true diversion or pre-referral diversion may not be captured in the same way, but maybe we will be able to see later that we have fewer referrals into our system, and that might be the best way to capture it, because you just don't know if that's going to be something. I understand the courts in different counties might have some data agreements with the people that are doing that, but we're still not going to necessarily capture all of it. So we're just trying to still get our mind around all of that. We also discussed the work group. We have our toolkit, and really exciting news. We also now, we think, have our diversion directory, and Megan's going to do a little show and tell on that for you all in just a minute. But we talked then about, since we kind of have our deliveries done, our work group is probably just going to meet once a year. So there's no need to really disband us or dissolve us, but we'd like to meet once a year to review the toolkit and the directory and to make sure it's staying updated. If there's any changes we need to make, we can talk about it then. And we're also considering how, as this continues, we can inspire counties to give us better data around how the programs are doing, or to show that their diversion programs really work. And maybe they're going to be on the directory with the star next to that program or something. So we're thinking about those kind of things as we move forward. But most exciting is that we do have a directory. So Megan's going to show you how that works.
Yes, good morning. Thank you. So we are very excited to give a sneak peek of the directory. Our group met 2 weeks ago and we didn't have an opportunity to review this in our meeting. So what we've been doing, I've been scheduling some brief kind of like office hour windows of time for our work group members to jump on and review it so that they can get eyes on it. But we definitely wanted to get it to you all so you could see it. We don't meet again until November, but we think it's looking pretty good. It looks like what we expected. So we'd like to be able to go live with this as soon as it's ready to go. So it's very straightforward. We have, it's probably a little bit difficult to see here, but we have, this table is the searchable elements. So earlier this year, I believe we brought to you all, we were looking to work from an info sheet and it had selectable items, things that we agreed, we wanted counties to be able to select from some options so that there'd be consistency around this. So that's where we came up with these program types and target populations. So this table is searchable. We ended up total with 75 programs, which comprises 35 counties, I believe. So for instance, you can just search this directory and search through each program, look at their target populations, their program type, who administers the program, or you can search. So if you are interested in who has a teen court, maybe you are thinking about a teen court, you can search that. Let me find my mouse and we can see we have 14 programs, teen courts in Indiana currently that at least have submitted their information for this. So if you're then wanting a little more information, to contact them, get a full description of the program. If, for instance, we want to know about Huntington County's teen court, we have the PDF, which then provides the more detailed information about each program. So then we can search that and get the program. You can see we have for each program a description. This is all self-report from the county. So the description of the program, you have a little more information in terms of how many years the program has been active, who's funding the program, and a point of contact. So if you wanted to reach out to those programs, you'd be able to reach out. Let me get back to these. So you can also search by county. If you know of a similarly situated county that maybe is similar in size or location and you want to see what programming they have, you could search that way as well. So any questions about the directory? How do you update it? How easy? So that's a really good question. And a suggestion that I think is going to be fantastic. So Peyton and Lindsay Borchell have been great in putting this together for us. And when we gathered this information, we used a Microsoft form that we sent out a link to chief probation officers. And so I think what the group sounds like, we like this idea of adding that to this page with a little just language around if you have a program that you'd like to see included in the directory, submit that information here. And then I will just periodically monitor that and then work with them on updating this. It sounds like it's not too heavy of a lift. If we just get a program here and there, then there's a manual process. If we get a lot, then we can think about maybe it's only a quarterly thing, or maybe it's only an annual thing, and then they can do that in a more efficient way. So I think that the group, everyone that we've talked to so far, thinks that would be, because that was a question we had going into it too, but I think that'll be a way to make that work. Any other questions?
Yeah, our thought was we're hoping people look at it and say, why is our great stuff not on here? And it's because they didn't pay attention, but we'll have the ability to get it on there. So that's important to us. Because we're kind of hoping, you know, it brings out a little competitiveness with the counties when they think, Allen County's doing all this stuff. Why aren't we look terrible. Why isn't our stuff on here? So, or we need to start more diversion programs. So we're excited about getting it live.
Yeah. And I think all the conversations around data and all of these other pieces that are, kind of coming together around diversion, as we continue to have at least annual meetings around this, maybe we can think of other ways to update this. If a county does have outcomes that they want to share, maybe we can incorporate that and find a way of getting that information from counties, or maybe we need to hone in more. For the target populations and program types, there are a lot of options there, but we really wanted to cast a wide net because we didn't know exactly what counties were going to report. This is all self-report. And so we wanted to make sure we really captured everything. We might want to maybe hone in on those a little bit more to make this more targeted when you're looking. I don't know, but I think those are all things that we as a group can talk about as we kind of review this each year.
Well, it does seem like a great time for synergy as well with the next diversion grant opportunities. And if you want to do a program like Bartholomew or on substance use, so it does seem like good timing there as well. It's a good job.
Anything else in the directory? Okay, thank you.
So 3 thoughts as I was listening to the report this morning. One is, Tracy, you used the word competition. And I can just imagine telling judges you might give them a gold star for something by sharing additional information or outcomes or data reports. And I can't imagine you're going to get 0 responses to that. And the design of this, the thought for this, Doug and the grants work group, is that perhaps this could be a link when the next RFP goes out. If you're thinking about a program, here's a directory where you can go for more information on how you might structure your program or get more information. So hopefully we will see this directory grow over time and also spark ideas in those communities who have not yet reached out for that diversion funding. Also, I had the thought that nationally, Indiana is a leader in many areas. And so I think having this information out there for the United States to look at, perhaps even international folks to look at, I think puts us in good position when those large federal grants may or may not come to be. So I think it makes us a competitive entity on the national level as well. So that's exciting to see, I think. And this has been a labor of love, Tracy and crew. So thank you all for incredible work. And we will look forward to your recommendation at the December meeting. So I know that not all of your group has had the opportunity to review the directory and give feedback at this point, right?
Right. But we're very close. We want it to go live very soon.
Yeah. So you'll need to present to the whole YJOC for, the final product for blessing to go live, but that could be at the meeting December 11th. So we could be up and live before the next RFP goes out, which would be awesome. And for this and the other groups who may have work product before the December 11th or for consideration at the December 11th meeting, we'd ask that those be turned in by the 1st. So people have a full 10 days to look at the documents. I know some groups may have a larger documents than others for review. Any other questions or discussion for the diversion group? All right, next up, we have transitional services, and I believe that will be Magistrate Foley today.
Yes, Terry had a work commitment and couldn't be here today, so she wanted me to extend her apologies to everyone. Actually, not a whole heck of a lot to report since our last meeting. Our best practices work group met in response to some feedback that we got on our best practices guide. So we're still in the process of kind of doing some redrafting. I think it's been turned back over to IOCS at this point for some additional feedback and redrafting, getting some graphics in a better position and a little bit more legible, I think. But we are hoping to be able to submit that at the next meeting.
Great. Questions for Magistrate Foley? All right. Thank you, Magistrate Foley and group. We've done very well on time today. So what I'm going to do is open the floor for conversation about initiatives regarding juvenile justice that are underway in your particular organizations, anything you think this group should know, or any questions you have for this group. So I'll open that up on this side. Leslie, do you want to start this time?
I'll take a pass for now.
Okay.
I'll see if I think of something.
All right.
Putting us on the spot. The only thing I think I'll mention is that for CHAMP, we did launch the 2 navigator pilots. So the pilot programs are up and running. The one that's, that I talked about, that's upstream at the school, and then the one that is in NDI with children who are exiting state hospitalization. So very early, no big epiphanies to report out on yet, but we are moving forward.
Done. Okay. Judge King.
Oh, we do have a new stakeholder collaborative that I stole some of it from Faith. And I also incorporated some of the letter from Adam Krupp. I incorporated some of the letter from Justin Fortner and put it into a memorandum. And we've started working on that as part of that stakeholder collaborative. We have a data group. We have a services group, and we have a case processing group. So this is all Chin's work. I chair the collaborative. I chair the case processing. My director of court services chairs the services work group, and our JDAI coordinator chairs the data work group, because each person to kind of spearhead their specialty, if you will. We've had one large collaborative meeting, every 100% attendance. So that went well. Everybody's subcommittee, mine's met once over the course of the last 30 days. Our services subcommittee has met twice over the last 30 days, and we're scheduled to sign our memorandum of understanding on November 12th. So that, I guess, is working its way through the Department of Child Services, at least from what I've been apprised. And I also had a good discussion with Adam Krupp, who came down to Ripley County. He was able to sit down and talk about things. He seems to have his heart in the right spot. I was impressed by him and very optimistic. So that went well. So as far as new things, that's what's new in Ripley County. So we have our hands full. And I guess then there was the presentation there, and to all the judges that I was part of, and Judge Kenworthy was part of, Judge Hubbard from Marion County was involved. Doug was there as well. I thought that went well. As previously stated, we were very last things. So there were a few people in the room, so that was a win, I felt like. And there's a lot going on that front. With 1605, that kind of changes the game a little bit on the Chins Law. I think the EK case is a huge deal. I mean, I don't know if everyone's realized it yet, but they soon probably will. And actually, on Tuesday in Ripley County, we had our big CASA event that we have annually to support the CASA program there in Ripley County. And I spoke quite a bit about the EK case because of, as we know, one of the paramount duties is to look independently assess the best interest of the child. If that doesn't go hand in hand with CASA, I don't know what does. So I spent quite a bit of my time speaking to the people in attendance about that. That's it for us.
I guess I just would offer a resource that I don't think would be on the diversion directory, which is fabulous. Because it's a lot of jurisdictions are experiencing just a unbelievable amount of gun offenses. So we have implemented for a while now something called Handgun Intervention Program, or HIP. We've had pretty good feedback from not just the kids, but it's the parents too. It's the whole family requirement to do this. And I mean, we've had some pretty positive feedback. It's fairly new, but share if anybody's interested in that. I don't know what else to do. I mean, there's not really a lot else out there to address this issue.
And can you talk a little bit about, Judge Graham, how you identified that program and how it's structured?
Rebecca Humphrey, enough said. I think it was from Colorado. I think Colorado, is where we kind of found it and then tweaked it a little bit for our purposes. And community folks are willing to go. It's, so they have like the coroner comes and does a presentation. They have medical presentation for, you know, here's how you treat a gunshot wound. You know, it's, just various people, a victim of gun violence comes in and then the kids at the tail end have to do a presentation on the things that they've learned. And one kid, he missed the very last class and he wasn't going to be able to, you know, get off probation but so they did his presentation to the court. We let him, so in lieu of that, he had to do it in court. Boy, he was a nervous wreck, but he did a great job. They are really learning some things. Yeah. And it hasn't stopped, you know, the gun issues, but at least we're not seeing the same kids multiple times.
And my understanding, Judge Graham, is that there's a conflict resolution aspect to the program too. So youth and their parents are engaged in learning about conflict resolution skills, alternatives to, you know, needing a gun.
Our kids referred. So they're on probation.
Is it probation?
Yeah.
Thank you.
We see a lot of appeals involving youth with guns. And so we see the tip of the iceberg. So I know those of you in the trenches are seeing just an enormous amount of guns. And inevitably, the theme is youth have this perspective that everyone else has a gun, so I need one too to defend myself. And so I'm always thinking about how in the world do we as system folks either change that truth or change the myth. I don't know which it is. I think there are a lot of guns out there. But youth certainly have that perspective that if I'm going to live through school today, I need to have my gun with me, or walking home from school, or whatever it may be. And that is heartbreaking to think about our youth living in that mindset.
I'm absolutely convinced, and you may, because you've come and present, I am absolutely convinced the only reason we have not had a police involved shooting of a child is because of our policing the teen brain training. You'll never convince me otherwise. That's the only reason. Yes. We do policing the teen brain training for everyone. And I could see it in the videos. Like they did everything right. I mean, absolutely would have been within their rights to discharge their weapon and used all of the skills that you could see it in the video.
Yeah, so it's a training out of Massachusetts on teen brain development and de-escalation for teens. And typically do is run the whole police force through the past 15 years.
10 or more years.
Yeah, it's big. Yeah.
Thank you, Judge Graham. Tracy?
All I can report on is what I'm working on, which is our summer conference. It has every other year, there's a juvenile summit, so it's my summit time coming up. So I am working on a half day of juvenile sex offense training. And I'm bringing Victor Beef and some other speakers in to talk about how juvenile offenders are different and focusing on the best treatments. And we're also talking, I mean, since it's kind of an expanded time, I also get to talk about sextortion and all the other horrific things that we expose our children to so lovingly when we hand them a phone at 12. So I wish I could present to every parent out there, but anyway, I'm doing what I can. But that's what I'm working on that morning of speakers along with all the other stuff.
Hey, Steve?
Yeah, really the only thing I need to report on now is just really continue to work on the chronic absenteeism report to ensure and see everything that entails. So we continue to have our meetings. So there, would be able to share with you that too.
Okay, Shannon?
I have nothing. I would pass.
Well, things have been a little exciting in Allen County over the past few months. We have a new judge, Allen Superior 7, and a new chief juvenile probation officer. So sorry, the diversion document directory already needs to be updated.
It's pretty,
So we've been in the process, we do have our diversion program that we've been working with our prosecutor's office on. So we're hoping with further negotiations that we're going to be able to expand the number of offenses that are eligible for diversion under the prosecutor's mandate. We've continued to work on implementing a transitional services program. We were in the process of getting certified as a problem-solving court for truancy when Judge Trevino announced her retirement from the bench. So that kind of put a stopper on it, but Judge Eckenberger indicated that he's ready to go forward with that. Kind of echo what Judge Graham was talking about. We are also seeing a tremendous amount of gun cases. We have had a fairly significant uptick in our possession of machine gun charges with the Glock switches that are becoming so very common. So it is at this point, I would say just anecdotally, if we go 2 days without a gun case, it's odd enough that people comment on it. So for years, we had a program called Project Life that probationers who were adjudicated a gun offense would be required to complete. It was an in-house program. So in response to the uptick in the number of homicides allegedly committed by youth, as well as the possession of machine gun cases, probation has revamped that program. They actually met with some folks from Tippecanoe County, so we did take some elements from that, elements from our prior program. So it's now called Safer Streets. Probably our biggest challenge on that is getting parental involvement in that program because it is fairly intensive. So still pretty new. It's only been in place about 3 months now. So we're going to be looking at outcomes. Lots of stuff.
Right.
The only thing I will report out on is that we have a new Valcasa State Director, Melissa Cunningham, been there about a month. So we're excited to have her on board. I'm going to cede the rest of my time to Nancy, actually.
Thank you, Catherine. An update from the Youth Justice team at Court Services. We are planning for our JDAI Local Leadership Conference at the end of this month. This is something we do every other year. On the opposite years, we hold a Youth Justice Conference. We used to be the JDAI Oversight Conference, but it's going to be a statewide Youth Justice Conference next year. The Local Leadership Conference is for our local coordinators and judicial officers. We have a day one, which is planned by our local coordinators based on information that they need and want. And then we have their judicial officers joining them for day two. A lot on the agenda, packed agenda both days. Very much looking forward to the time that they get to spend together and that we get to spend with them at the end of this month. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Dr. Alsma.
2 quick things. So we had a half-day youth involved in the juvenile justice system trafficking training meeting a month or so ago. We had 70 individuals from court systems from 35 different counties come downtown for that training. It was really great. So some next steps in that realm are to do some more focused outreach around training and trauma focused on behavioral treatment, focused on victims of trafficking. So there is a specific training where people trained in TFCBT can help young people that have been trafficked. So that will go statewide the next 12 months. So hopefully just more treatment options for everyone across the board for young people that have been victims. So tragic. And the second thing is Riley Hospital now has a gun violence hospital-based program for young people. So gun violence is so huge. They're seeing more and more of it, including at Riley Hospital. So it's similar to your program, Judge Graham, where it's education, it's case management, helping young people. And Lauren McGee is heading that up. So criminologist does a lot of gun violence work. She started the non-fatal gun violence intervention program here at IMPD. So we're finding good case clearance, getting people connected to care. Now that's for across the age spectrum. but that's young people as well, sometimes as young as 10, 11, 12. So it's a model that's getting more and more attention. So if any of you are interested locally, you can follow up with that.
So how do youth get into that program at Riley?
So the Riley one is all based on young people that come to Riley that have been victims of gun violence. So then they're brought into the program regardless of how they got there. And there are 10 other pediatric hospitals across the nation that have a similar program. So kind of replicating some of that program there. Yeah, it's horrible, right? But this is the place where we are. We need more and more of these programs. Yeah.
Okay, Liz?
News from the Public Defender Council, we are gearing up next month in South Bend. We're gonna have our 3-day in-person juvenile trial practice institute. We've got about 20 new juvenile defenders signed up. So if anyone knows a new public defender taking juvenile cases, we still have a few spots left. It's just a 3-day in-person comprehensive skills training.
Great. Kia, would you like to add anything today?
Yeah, thank you guys. Dr. Osmond, definitely would love to learn more about the program at Riley. It sounds like everybody is experiencing the gun violence. I think I told you guys at the last session, well, probably not. We've lost 2 young people to gun violence just in the last, I'd say, 90 days or so. And so, it's taken its toll. One exciting thing that we have going on is we've launched a new pilot program with NICJR, OPHS, IMPD, where we are focusing on young people that are most at risk of victimization or being a perpetrator of gun violence. And so get referrals to us directly from IMPD. It's a coordinated service with us and several other nonprofits, and we kind of bring in the whole family. And so we meet with the moms first or the caregivers. We offer incentives along the way and identify some family needs. Mom or caregiver gets a person, a life coach or mentor assigned to her, and then we get the young people enrolled in mentoring and therapy services. And it's intensive. It's at least 3 to 5 times a week contact, group and individual. There's assessments, but these are the young people that have been actively involved in shootings or have been victims of shootings. So it's only been going on for the last 45 days. And so obviously we're collecting a lot of data with it, but I'm most encouraged by the coordination of so many systems with this effort and the sharing of information in real time. We can have a young person or a mom say, hey, there's a threat of violence or something. And we have people there almost immediately. And it's a coordinated communication between us and providers and IMPD. And, we've created this shared kind of database where we can go in real time and see, where kids are on this pipeline. So it's encouraging. We've gotten some seed money from, like I said, NICJR is a national entity. They're the ones that brought Marion County, the peacekeepers and violence interrupters and those roles. And so I will keep you guys posted, but thanks for letting me share.
Thank you, Kia. Anyone else want to chime in with anything? Leslie, did you think of anything? Okay. My one additional thought is in regard to House Bill 1605, one provision of that in particular, and that is the limitation on time for parents to receive services within the CHIN system. And so it's a question in my mind whether that's going to cause a shortage on the delinquency side because we're prioritizing CHIN services higher, or if that's going to relieve the pressure on services because we're no longer providing years of services. So I think we just watch that. We watch how service on one side of the system is going to affect the service on this side of the system. And I mentioned this at the juvenile conference because I think in the event that we see a greater shortage on the delinquency side, some communities have done a really great job of filling service gaps with YJOC dollars. So be thinking about that as you see the effects or changes on your availability of services in your communities. Or if you hear that from your colleagues, encourage them to take a look at the YJOC dollars. I know Tippecanoe is another example of this, of filling a gap in service with YJOC dollars. So awesome synergy today, awesome synergy in general with this group. So I know you're all very busy and very passionate about what you do. So thank you all. If there is no other discussion, I will adjourn the meeting at 11:20 and give you additional 40 minutes in your day. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, y'all.
Plenty of time.
Go NBI.
Yeah.